All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. We are running late tonight, so I want to apologize to everyone who will be joining us by way of social media. We've had some technical difficulties, and but the subject matter that we're dealing with tonight is certainly worth us taking the time out to really explore it and to prayerfully go into it. So before we go on any further, I'm going to ask Brian if you'll lead us in prayer.
Father, Heavenly Father, Holy Lord God, we ask here this day, Lord, that you give us your wisdom, Lord. Give us your discernment on the subject matter that we have at hand here today. We thank you for allowing us to be present here today, Lord. And may we glorify you, oh Lord, in what we have in front of us here today, oh God. Help us. Give us your Holy Spirit that moves and guides us, oh Lord. Give us your wisdom, Lord. And we ask this in the mighty name of your Son, Jesus Christ, oh Lord. Amen.
Amen. And we give honor to the Lord our God and to our Savior Jesus the Christ. Thank God for Jesus, for the Holy Spirit, our guide and our comforter. I'm going to ask that as you speak tonight, then that you would put a little volume, because we're in a different place than what we're normally in. And that's a good thing. We do kind of need to have somewhat privacy to a certain degree. I know we have kids on the other side. Our key scripture comes from the book of Matthew, the 19th chapter, beginning at the 14th, well, just inclusive of the 14th verse. Matthew, 19th chapter and the 14th verse. And I'm going to ask someone to read that scripture aloud.
Suffer the little children, and forbid them not to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven.
But Jesus said, suffer the little children to come unto me, and forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of heaven. Tonight, our subject matter deals with how it is that too often, and sadly, in too many cases, we silence the voices of young people who already are challenged to articulate or communicate their struggle, who already find it difficult trying to maneuver and to get around in this adult world. And when it comes to things which have great importance, they are still muffled. They're muffled because sometimes we don't want to take the time out to hear them out. They're muffled because we are afraid of what they say. And sometimes the way they say it, what they say, and to whom they say it, scares. Some things, even adult people with mature minds don't want to hear, but even greater, they don't want to know. And there are a lot of secrets that are in our community, a lot of secrets that are in our church family, and there are even secrets in our own families that we really don't want the public to know. And sometimes these secrets, when we find them out, they scare us on such a level to whereas we just don't know how to deal with it. And so we just want to rush it. We want to sweep it under the rug. We want to cover it up. We want to deny all of the facts. We want to say it's more opinion. And then we oftentimes say, well, I don't want to do anything because I can't prove anything. Meanwhile, on some level, victimization continues to go forward. Pain is still being inflicted. People are being scarred and wounded. So those people are not just people somewhere in Mexico, not somewhere in some other community, but right here in our own community of Abbeville and in the African American community. And, I must say, even in the church. We're going to be dealing a little while with a young person who is who has agreed to join us tonight by way of telephone. Once we get that all situated and set up, we're going to call them. They've agreed to tell us and talk about their story, to give us the opportunity maybe to reach them. Maybe it's something that we might be able to say to them, or they might be able to say to us, that will help us to grow and help us to do better as a people. I want to first start off, Penny is going to be our facilitator tonight. She's going to be the one that's going to kind of keep us going and moving. We all will be talking together. But let me go back to this scripture again, Matthew 19:14. Jesus comes that we may have life and life more abundantly. And one of the things that he says as this gathering crowd is around him, not only are there the older people that want to come and talk to him and be healed and touched, but also the children. And at one point, they began to restrict the children, I guess because they saw this as being grown-up business. As a result of that, Jesus, seeing this restriction upon the kids, he turns to them and he says, suffer the little children to come unto me, and forbid them not. And this suffering means allow them. This suffering means permit them. This suffering means don't restrict them, but give them the opportunity to express themselves. Don't hold them back because of their age. Don't hold them back because of how you may see them, but allow them the benefits to come in and have this fellowship, have this opportunity to express themselves, however that expression comes out, however it is communicated, because they are important too. One of the things that I'm hoping tonight that we will be able to share with Tasha, as come on, Deacon and Sarah. Tasha is going to be speaking with us in reference to this. She's going to be helping us to understand from her own testimony, from her own circumstance and situation, her struggle. I'm going to ask that we be very careful with her, prayerful with her, sensitive to her. I don't want to rush her. I don't want to restrict her. I don't want anybody to judge her. But I want her to have the freedom to flow. If she wants to take up the entirety of the time, so be it. If she needs overtime, so be it. Because as a church, our goal is to minister and allow the Lord to have his way. Before I go in, I'm going to ask Penny if you will kind of give us some kind of... let me ask you this question, Penny, because we've talked beforehand. How real is this issue tonight? Because what we're dealing with, let's go to her poetic bio. Let's go to her poetic bio and let's read what's included in the notes. Because I want to let you know, Tasha is scared. And she is scared for good reason. So those of you who are joining us by social media, on your Facebook page, you should be able to see her bio. I'm going to go ahead and read it. It's entitled, Don't Spend the Night. She asked, Mama, do I have to spend the night? Can I just go home with you? Will that be all right? Now, don't start that stuff. You know what I said. You spending the night with Althea and your Uncle Fred. But, Mama, I got a test and a major paper due. If I don't pass it, I'll fail. You're going to be mad, too. Every time, Tasha, you have that same excuse. Stop lying, girl, and just tell the truth. She'll watch you leave and keep the secret within. Knowing tonight, as Althea sleeps, he'll creep in. The family's shameful sheet beast to cuddle with his favorite niece. Disturbing surely is this subject matter. Perhaps it provokes some needful chatter. Its purpose, penning, the reason it dared, is to tell you this. She's truly scared. In the event that you haven't received it from her poetic bio, Tasha is suffering abuse, sexual abuse. And the perpetrator is her Uncle Fred. But I'm wondering, is he the only perpetrator here? Penny, talk to me about this subject. Is this real in our community?
Yes, it is. It's very much real.
You think it's ever so now and then a rarity, or you think it happens more often than we care to know?
It's more often. More often.
And do you think that kids who are dealing with this on a regular basis, do you think that they are, first of all, capable of communicating? And if so, what hinders the communication? And that's open to anybody. What keeps these secret in? Why does it go on so long, having at times multiple victims?
Maybe because they tell you it's a secret you can't tell nobody because they're not going to believe you.
Who is they that's saying that?
The perpetrator.
The perpetrator who is doing the crime,
yes,
is saying to the victim, don't say nothing because they're not going to believe.
And a lot of times they're being threatened too by uncle, by brother, by father.
My cousin.
That we're going to kill your family. You know, that's traumatizing if you say that to a young person. If you say something, like she said, nobody's going to believe you. But if you say something, I'm going to hurt your mama. I'm going to hurt you. Especially if you're in a relationship, like you're a stepfather or something like that, or a stepbrother or something like that. Then that's traumatizing over again.
Also, to go back to your original question, is there one perpetrator? No, because many times when you hear something along those lines, folks don't want to believe it. Even if the person may see, hints of certain things happening, you tend to ignore it because that's a little bit too much that you want to know.
But if a child says to you and shows that they have concerns about being with a certain adult alone, why is it that we don't immediately, as adults, jump up and address the situation? Even if it's better to err on the side rather, why wouldn't we immediately follow that thing through? Not just ask the possible perpetrator, not just ask the victim. Why don't we just immediately go and shake the whole tree?
Well, you see, I've seen it, not necessarily with this subject, but other subjects where folks just don't want to have that confrontation. It's easier to tell this child, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. To dismiss what they're doing because they're kids or they're, younger adults, whatever. Because it's easier to do that than to actually get with the actual problem, because once you open that door, you don't know what's coming through that door. You may be wrong, the child may be wrong, or it may be the child may be right, and that's something that you're just not ready to address. I've seen this happen before, you know, where even when people get hints of a situation happening, it's more than they want to handle. It's easier to, you know, imagine nothing's happening. It's just part of somebody's imagination than it is to address this problem.
So when you say it's more than they want to handle, one of the part of the things that bothers me on that is, oftentimes if it's my child, I might be willing to raise a stink. But if it's somebody else's child,
You don't want to get in.
Listen,
I don't want to get involved. I don't want to get involved.
listen, my child, and I've always told my kids, nothing is a secret. Always come tell mama. Because I know daddy would kind of trip off and want to, you know. Well, when it happened to one of my kids, they came and told me. I was like, what? I said, you just telling me this now? So I sent my other kid to go tell.
Yeah.
And they came back and they said, he said he looked at that person as family and he wouldn't do nothing like that. And I was like, what? So both mama and stepdad comes over to my house and I tell them, what are y'all going to do about this situation? And then I was telling her, I said, I think this happened before. I said, I think this person went to his dad and that happened with his little stepsister. And I kind of heard that in the air. And the mama always said, oh, no, that wasn't true, not my boy. But when it happened in our household, and I mentioned it to Brian, God, he was just so, like, wanted to just do something to him. And I was like, maybe we just got to pray about it, put it in the Lord's hand. And then my brother came and he said, well, what should I do? I was like, what should you do? I said, you need to talk to him or get his mind right or take him somewhere to get some help. He stayed away from us.
I know we don't want to be the ones that cause somebody in our family to have to go to jail. We don't want to be the one that cause somebody. Even sadly, it's almost to say, even if our child is the victim, we still really don't want them to go to jail. I hear you say they should get help. I agree with that. And we don't want to tell everybody, because if we tell everybody, some people might kill them.
Well,
which makes it even worse.
They can go to jail.
Oh, I wanted to beat him up, couldn't walk the property. And I was like, what kind of...
They'll be safe in jail.
I'm saved today.
Yeah.
At that time, he just wanted to beat him up. And I was like, that's not going to solve nothing. You know, it's not going to solve nothing at all. And he got so bitter and mad, I was trying to be just cool and like, Lord, I know it's a reason this had to happen or something like this. You know, I know it got to be broken, whatever this is. And then later on in life, I started hearing different ones in the family like that had happened too. And
by the same person.
That same person. Now listen, this Good Friday, now he hadn't been coming around at all. Maybe 2 years ago, I seen him. I think I was bitter. And I think I was angry.
So hold on, let me pause and let you know, not only was their victim directly, but you were an indirect victim. With possibly and probably other direct and indirect. In case, I don't want to be so vague, I want everybody to understand what I'm talking about. You could have a perpetrator inside of the family who molests, rapes a child in the family. And the big secret is kept. And so they probably done it before to somebody else, younger or older. And then as people find out about it, you have people in the family that don't know what to do. You got people in the family that are angry. You have people in the family who just really don't want to have anything to do with it. All of these people on some level are victims.
Yeah, and at the point when it happened, I just didn't want him nowhere around the yard, none of the family functions. Now, Brian, that was a different story. I'm just going to get him and I'm going to beat him up. I'm going to show him who a real man. You just don't do no stuff like that. I was calm about it. And then when my other child came to me about it, man, that just like, I was like, Lord.
Like he's off the chain. This person is off the chain.
Yeah.
And so they have violated your house multiple times, your individual house, family house, and then probably has been a violator of other family members' household immediate over the years.
And you know what? For some reason, I never let my kids go play with them. You know, we live next door. Because every time Dylan went over there, something always happened, and he was always the one that, like, they egged the house and stuff, and cars. They put it all on Dylan. And he went clean the car up, and the rest of the kids in there, and it was like it wasn't nothing. They didn't do nothing, but they had a whole lot to do with it. But they just, like, and Dylan, he did what he had to do and went do whatever and whatever. But I really started looking at the little boy for who he really was, and then as of 2 years ago, I had to face him. Mm-hmm. And then I had both my kids, and they both were looking like they was bitter and angry. And I'm looking at them, and here he comes. Hey, Penny. I'm like, God.
No, that had to be hard.
I said, hey, my baby. I said, how you doing? I'm good. Something wanted me to say, why you did that? Why you did what you did? I didn't say nothing because I would have got angry. But I should have listened to what my mind said and just go ahead and just tell him why you did that. You didn't have that to do.
What do you think the answer would have been? I'm just curious. Because number one, that person could very easily say, did what? And then you say, you did this. You molested my child. And then that person can look at you and say, I didn't do that. So you always have this deniability by the perpetrator.
I know myself, if he would have said that, I would have automatically said, well, what happened to your little sister?
See, but you see, and I understand exactly what she's saying because I currently heard the story. But I can understand the other side too, where it's like, okay, this is the accusation that's being made, but in order for me to address this and put a consequences on somebody, I don't want to go to an innocent person because somebody might have, something. I'm not saying, I've heard the story and I actually believe, when it happened, but I'm just saying people tend to look.
So without the presence of proof, all you have is an argument.
He say, she say type situation. And that can be very difficult because
he's still in denial.
Yeah, here it is. You have the victim right here, and this is happening. This is like this, but then you have the folks that being spoken to is like it's still subject to what you feel. Whether you believe me or whether you believe me not.
Here's the thing that bothers me because this is one of the reasons why I think we need to free our kids and teach them communication, truthful communication is highly valued by all adults, or you as an adult. It's highly valued because Jennifer may say it, Raquan might say it, Little Princess might say it, and if all of these people are saying it, but now if everybody's saying it, I mean, truth got to be in there somewhere. If it's one-on-one, we might have a debate without the presence of proof. But when you have multiple testifiers throughout the family saying yes, 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 and confirming it. At the very least, there should be an agreement among family members to watch family members.
Yeah, we need, this, if it happens to multiple family members, it needs to be addressed.
And
not just shut off to the side.
Like when that happened to me, maybe I was a little stronger than the kids, even though I did teach my kids, do not let nobody touch you funny. Any kind of way, let me know. Nothing is a secret. Mama got you.
Let me get Tasha on the phone.
No, are we talking somebody that's young? It happened when they were young?
Like 8.
Right. Oh no, it would have been a no-brainer.
You see, that's what I'm saying.
Because I would have been with parents and something.
No.
They're all pretty much around the same age, but just
right. If they were younger,
they're older.
Right.
But they're all around the same age.
Right.
Like Brian?
Me too.
He wanted to kill, steal, and destroy.
I would.
Hey,
I would
Tasha,
have
hold
been.
on just a second, and I'm coming to you. This is Pastor Williams. Just hold on just a second.
Do we have a
I'm
printout?
not getting the volume
We
on
don't
this.
have a printout.
You want to print it out? You got it on your phone?
Can you send it to me?
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, this is a new phone.
All right, we're still having a little audio difficulty, but I'm gonna try to get it plugged into the speaker. But if not, we're gonna continue to go. I want to say first of all, thank you very much for agreeing to being here with us tonight. I know that you have some concerns about making sure that this information does not get out to your mother, and I just want to let you know that you don't have to worry about that. I know that you don't even live in this area, but you don't have to worry about anybody from the church contacting her or any member of your family. So I'm not even giving your last name.
Thank you.
Deke, I want you to come and try to get this. But we've been kind of talking. Let me kind of give you some names of some individuals that are here. Present with us tonight is Deacon Spriggs. I have Brother Brian Leonard. I have Penny Leonard, and named here also tonight. So I'm going to, Penny is going to be kind of the person that's going to be talking with you perhaps the most. If it's not her, it'll be me. Just to kind of keep things moving forward. Can you tell us something about your story?
Hello, everyone. My name is Tasha. I'm 50. My mom was a single mother because my dad went to jail when I was 3 years old. No, he went to jail when I was 3 years old. And when he got out, he ended up getting married and moving on with another family. However, I stayed with mom. And times got tough, so we went over to live with a family member, and that's when things started happening that honestly, I don't even know how to explain it because I just knew something about it wasn't right, but my uncle started doing things that was very inappropriate, and I've just been very afraid to come out and tell my mom.
So now we've agreed that we would call your uncle by the name of Fred and your aunt out there. The names have been changed because we feel it inappropriate for us to report such a thing. And so that's what we'll be operating underneath those names. So I want to make sure that we heard everything correctly. Tasha is 15. She's in high school. Tasha, what kind of grades you make?
My grades are not so good right now. They were better, but after the things I've been experiencing, I just haven't been focused. So they're not too good now.
Okay. We'll probably be asking you some direct questions tonight. We're just really kind of trying to hear and understand kind of what's been going on, what is going on. You say your mother is a single parent? and your father is,
He moved on.
your father and your mother not together, and your father moved on. He went. You say he went to jail?
Yeah, but he out.
Did go to jail for a couple of years when I was younger, and when he got out, he relocated and changed his life, and he's been doing better ever since. And that's where I would like to go and live, but Mom won't let me.
Your mother won't let you go to live with your father.
No.
Does he have does he have any other children?
Yes, he's married now.
Okay.
He does have 2 other kids.
With her? Or her?
Yes, with the wife that he's with now.
Oh, okay. And she didn't have any other kids?
No.
Oh, okay.
Do you can you describe to me what you feel like is your relationship with your mother?
Our relationship is okay. I know that she loves me. However, it's not easy talking to her.
Can you tell me why?
When I try to talk to her, she cuts me off and tell me things that she's experienced in her lifetime, which I understand, and I try to get Mom to understand that we're living in 2 different ages. Things are very different, and she just it's just very hard because that's not something we're not a family that's real good at communicating.
Tell me about your what's the relationship between your Uncle Fred and your Aunt Althea? How is Uncle Fred related to you? I know he's your uncle, but how?
A marriage.
That is my mother's sister husband.
That's your mother's sister husband.
Correct. We went and lived with my aunt, and my aunt and uncle are married, and that's how we're related by marriage.
And you have other siblings or no? You have any other brothers or sisters?
I'm sorry, the phone broke up. Can you say that again?
Do you have any other brothers or sisters?
Yes. I have a stepsister and a younger brother.
You have a stepsister and a younger brother. And is the stepsister older or younger?
Younger.
Okay. And can you tell me her age?
She's 6.
Okay, so she's 6, and you're 15. I'm just trying to get an idea of how the family makeup is. Do you think that your relationship with your mother is not good because she doesn't listen to you? It's not good because she's too focused on other things, or one of the things that we want to do is we kind of want to talk to you about what the possibilities of and what we might be able to do to help build better communications with you and your mother, because I believe your mother is going to be an important part of getting you on a better place.
She's more reserved, and like right now, I think she's more focused on like trying to, get us into a place and everything, because she's a single mom. Like I say, she's trying, and she's also adjusting to trying to have a social life, be out with friends and do things. And I don't know if it's because she doesn't have the time or, like what's really going on.
Do you love her?
Yes.
Do you think your mother loves you?
Yes.
So why haven't you told her? Or have you?
I have not. Honestly, I can't. I don't know why. It's very, like I say, it's very hard to come out and talk to her about things that I'm experiencing, because she's never experienced it, so she doesn't know how to handle certain situations, I'm assuming. But it's just been very, very hard for me to just talk to her in general, because that's just not a thing that Mom and I are used to doing. Like, we just basically all, be in our own little space, doing our own little thing. I'm always always on my phone because I would like to be a YouTuber or do hair. So we're just basically always doing our own little thing. Nobody actually holds conversations. We might crack jokes or something, and that's about it.
Can I say something?
This is Penny.
This
Okay.
I'm Penny. Listen, I had a uncle-in-law. I went and spent the night to my aunt's house with my cousin, and me and my cousin was sleeping on the sofa, and I was in the back, and my cousin was in the front, and I was watching TV, and I could see my uncle, my aunt's husband, coming from out of the bathroom into the living room. And the way I was sleeping, well, I really wasn't sleeping because I was just alert. For some reason about him, it was just scary about him. And he came. He looked at his daughter, which is his stepdaughter, and he looked at me. I had my eyes closed, but I could see him. And he touched my tootie.
He touched your tootie.
My tootie. And
He touched your tootie.
he touched my tootie. And I didn't know how to respond. I didn't say nothing. I just stayed like I was. But the next morning, I got up. I don't know if I told my aunt, but I got up because we was living in Abbeville at the time. And I went home. And I ran away.
You ran away.
Guess where I ran away to?
Where?
Back to my aunt's house. And I told my aunt. My mom was looking all over for me, and I told my aunt, and my aunt, she was looking at me kind of strange, like, what? So I told, when they came get me to my aunt, I told my mom what happened. And my mom, she looked at me strange. You know, she didn't say a word. They never say the word. None of them say nothing.
She just heard what you said.
She heard what I said.
And
my aunt heard what I said. And they never fixed the situation. So that had me like.
Did they ask questions?
They was like, "You sure you wasn't dreaming?"
Oh.
And I was like, "No, I'm telling you." You know, they was looking at me like I was lying. You know, and I was like, they never fixed it. But I always stayed away from it. You know, and I always had that look. You know, and you know, when he would come around, you know, and when I had to go to my cousin's house and spend the night, I told her, "You got to keep that door locked." But he would never go in her room.
Did he ever show to you any other signs of inappropriate?
No,
behavior?
after that.
Just that one time.
Just that one
But that's
time.
that's enough, but that's too much. But
Just that one time. They never fixed it. I had to deal with that all my life.
what would have fixed it? And so when you say they never fixed it,
Like,
if it never happened again,
told him about it.
how did,
Took me there and told him. You know,
would they,
what
would
he
they,
did.
do you think that they would tell you if they told?
They could have just took me there and said, "Hey, blah, 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 you did this to blah, blah, blah." And all he would have had to say, "No, I didn't know that," you know.
So you needed, for your own closure's sake, you needed to see how what you said, how it was handled, that it was addressed. Because it could have, I mean, if he never touched you again, it could have been that they did speak to him.
Yeah.
However, it's possible that they didn't.
Yeah.
But you needed that closure.
Yeah, but I never did go back over there and spend the night over there again. But as we got older, I, you know, would go to my cousin because we like sisters, you know.
Tasha, how long has this happened? What? Tell me.
And I was young. I was like
tried to
11.
tell Mom and my aunt in my own way. I would go to them and, you know, just be like, you know, Uncle Fred, you know, Uncle Fred says that I'm his favorite niece and that I'm mature for my age, and that was my way of trying to get to them, you know, and they would just look at me and smile.
What do you think when Uncle Fred says to you, "Oh, you're my favorite niece," and "Oh, girl, you mature for your age"? All of those sound like complimentary things. Did you not see that as being a good statement?
No, concerned because it was the way I tell it to him. It wasn't a very sad voice. It wasn't happy or anything.
But no, he's saying to
Leave, I would tell them I don't want to stay here with Uncle Fred because he always volunteered to babysit.
But Uncle Fred is telling you, you my favorite niece. You my favorite niece. And girl, you look so mature for your age. Were those words of compliment? Did you take that as a compliment?
Probably made your stomach turn.
At first, I didn't think anything of it until that one night, where he came into my room and did things to me that no one has ever did before.
How old were you? And can you tell us, you don't have to go into any real deep graphic details. I just kind of want to know the extent of what happened, and I kind of want to know what age range we're talking about. Let me ask you, before you even answer that, is this night that you're telling me about, is that when you first felt like he was inappropriate, or were there any other times?
Well, the other times I probably didn't recognize it because I was too young. He was the type of uncle that liked to, sit you on his lap and, love on you and, like pretend that he's playing with you in front of family members. So and like I say, when I was younger, I didn't notice it. It wasn't until I started getting older, like around, I'll say about 9, and that's when he came into my room.
Okay, so let's go to that occasion, because that seems to be the beginning of a big scar or a big wound. He went into your room. Can you tell me about what time we're talking about? Were there other people in your room?
Probably after everybody was sleeping.
I honestly don't remember.
Were you asleep or were you awake?
Yes, I wasn't asleep, but I was in bed.
She was alert too.
Okay, and so when he came in, was he talking to you? Did he, or how did it go down?
Honestly, Rev, I don't remember for everything that actually took place, but I do know he came into there and with the same words, you're my favorite niece and you're mature, for your age. And now that I'm older and I think back, you don't tell a kid that young that they're mature for their age and, just keep saying it. So he came in like that. It was almost like he was coming in, to read me a bedtime story or something, and that turned into a totally different story.
So where was his wife?
Where was your aunt out there?
I honestly don't know where she was that night.
You think was she gone away from the house, or was she at the house?
When I went upstairs, she was home. But when I went into my room, she was home.
Yeah. Okay.
He probably wouldn't do that while she's home. He'd probably wait.
Unless it was late. If it was late. And she was asleep.
Yeah, I do know that it was dark.
I do know this. Man, you can get mad at me all you want. But when you move, I move too, right?
Brian, you kind of quiet over there.
But that's with the situation that I went through. I don't trust no man. I'm moving. I hear everything. He might be sleeping. I can hear. And any kid that come into my house, I'm with them. I'm teaching them. Nothing is a secret. Don't let nobody touch you funny.
And you trust your husband.
Oh, I trust my husband. But I'm still following.
But you still gonna, yeah. See, that and on the real, that covers him too.
But
covers him too.
Some women get real relaxed because that's their husband. Or and they be like, oh, he not, I got that. It's just something about it. I just, I done went through a lot. It wasn't just my uncle, my mama. She had other boyfriends, and 3 of them, one of them grabbed me and kissed me, another one grabbed me and kissed me, one touched me funny, but my 2 aunts was there to save me and ran and cleaned out of the house and let my mama know what was going on. So I went through a lot in life.
Penny, let me ask you. When she hears from her Uncle Fred that you're mature for your age, what do you think is going on with that?
He want her.
What you mean want her?
He wants her. He's telling her that so he could do whatever it is he want to do to her. That's a sign right there telling, oh, I want her. They ain't going to do nothing about this. My wife up there sleeping, her mom not even here. So I could just do whatever I want to do and they not going to believe her. Her mama probably already thinks she's a liar. You know, because my mom, she thought I was be lying and stuff. I ain't got time to lie. That's the truth. You know,
you think, Tasha, you think your mother would believe you if you told her,
That was my question.
Mama, Uncle Fred has touched me inappropriately. Uncle Fred has come on to me sexually. Do you think that she would believe you?
That was my question.
I would have to try. I would have to come out and tell her, you know, to see her reaction.
is Uncle Fred still trying?
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Is Uncle Fred still trying?
We no longer live there.
Oh, because I was going to tell you, set Uncle Fred up, have a camera. When you come in there, you'll have it on your phone, and then you can show it to your mom and your aunt. You know, I'm just saying. And that'll be a way.
Still go around for like special occasions and everything.
Are you still his favorite niece?
Sir?
Are you still his favorite niece?
Yes, sir.
How bad are we talking? Are we talking he just touched you? We talk about he tried to kiss you.
He did something.
Was he more? Was there more?
It was more.
Penicillin.
Well, it became, like I said, it became more aggressive at 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
Well, between the ages of 9 and 10. And he just, it happened at one time, and after that he attempted several other times.
You said it happened at one time. It being what?
All I heard was what?
You said it happened. I'm not trying to, I don't want to fill in that blank. You tell me what it was that happened. Are you talking about he just touched you? Or was there sex?
Yes, sir. The second option.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm older and, you know, have learned a few things, when he did that, it was, he didn't put anything on there, you know, and now I'm a young lady.
Did you scream? Did you scream?
Mm-mm.
Did you scream?
Mm-mm.
No, sir.
Why?
Cause
It just
Because I'm asking these questions. I kind of understand why, but I'm asking these questions because some people would use the fact that they didn't hear screaming as an excuse to be able to say nothing happened. Because if you were being raped, if you were being violated on that level, even at your age, you would have screamed.
you can't say nothing.
What you mean
Because
you
you're
can't?
in a trance.
Men want to know, why can't you say, well, ah, you hear on the movies all the time.
That's the movies. But in real life, it's not like that.
they whisper in your ear and he threatened me.
Your fear.
Yeah.
Like if I were to say anything, you know, the things that he would do, you know, that he had his way of manipulating me because I was young. And of course, the things that he was telling me, I believed him since he was already doing what he was doing. And so that was another reason why I didn't come out to mom, because I was threatened.
Do you, I'm just wondering, because people are different in their levels of understanding and maturity. Did you understand what he was doing? I don't want to sound crazy or simplistic, but did you at the time, did you understand what he was doing?
She didn't know. Look how young she was.
At the time, no.
No.
Not until after it happened, and of course with the, you know, seeing certain things on TV or hearing certain stories on talk shows that I would watch with mom or other family members, it caused me to start looking at things differently and paying more attention, and that's how I realized, you know, that I knew what he did wasn't right, but I also, you know, didn't know the extent extent of what he was doing.
What does Uncle Fred say to you the next day? What does he say to you the next day? Obviously, he was in the house the next day. You was in the house the next day. He knew you was going to be in the house the next day. On out there is in the house.
He was the same person that he is any other day. Like nothing.
So like nothing happened.
It's not his first rodeo.
What you mean, Penny?
That's not his first rodeo. He done did that before.
With her?
No, with somebody else. He did that with somebody else. He didn't just do that just to her. That's not his first rodeo. You know what I'm saying?
Deke, I heard you whisper a word. What you say?
No, I was saying he's comfortable.
What you mean? That's what I wanted to say it again. What that mean? He's comfortable.
He feels comfortable in his surroundings, that he has her in a point that she's not going to tell anybody.
So this was she's in the trap.
She's in the trap.
All the power and the control basically is his. He knows what to say, when to do what he does, and how to pretend like nothing ever happened.
Because nothing ever changed in her, and so he wasn't worried about it.
But Tasha didn't, because this is starting to make me squirm. Tasha, didn't you just want to look at out there and sit out there? He raped me. He did something to me. He touched me. He made me hurt. Didn't you want to just look at him and say, you was wrong for what you did last night? I mean, I'm trying to understand, why does that, are these, in my mind, I'm a man, I get it, but in my mind, I'm like, I would be wanting to just scream.
At that time, you can't do nothing. I'm going to tell you one time, let me tell you what happened to me. One night I came to Bible study over here, and you was giving different notes to different people, and these different people kept walking out. And that note came to me, and that was my note for me able to deal with the person that I had to deal with that touched me funny. Man, it was hard for me to deal with, but when I seen that man the next day, I told him this. I said, hey, how you doing? I said, I forgive you.
You told him that?
I did. And that took all the pain away from me. Now, when I see him, he ain't got nothing held over me. I said, hey, I forget. He walked off the job. He walked off the job.
What does it feel
He
like?
said, what? I said, I forgive you for what? I said, oh, you want me to tell everybody?
As a kid, you're saying?
No, as an adult now.
As
This happened like about maybe 6 years ago. And this happened with him when I was maybe 13 years old. And I am 58 now. So 6 years ago, when I told him that, he looked at me funny. And I just pulled up because he was working, pouring a slab. And I just had to get it off my chest, because every time I seen him, I always seemed bitter, angry.
Those were feelings you had, or those?
As the feelings I had, and every time I seen him, I just like wanted to do something to him, you know. And he always wanted to invite me to his church, the Church of God in Christ. Pentecostal church. I always wanted to do something, and I look at him. I was like, how can you live like this?
They probably wouldn't believe me because Uncle Fred is a military guy.
That's
Quick question. How long has it been since you guys left your aunt's place?
It hasn't been long. It's been maybe 6 to 8 months, if that long.
Oh, wow.
6 to 8
It's
months?
still fresh.
Okay, yeah, that's still recent. Now, being that you're away from your uncle and your aunt, or that guy and your aunt, you think you would feel a little bit comfortable? You don't really have to go into details with your mother, but at least raising the conversation with her, beginning the conversation.
Because y'all one-on-one now, y'all together, and you could just like, look, Mom, I really need to talk to you. You might not believe me, but I have to tell you this. And this happened at such and such time. And I got to tell you because I got to get it off my chest, because I don't feel good about it.
Do you think your mother would believe you?
She will.
I believe she would, and I think another part of me hasn't told her Troy.
Oh,
Well, that's what
so
I'm gonna
you-
say. It's the fear
Ah.
that
But-
she's dealing with.
But also, you know,
It's tough.
in order bringing it up with your mother, it's not necessary just to get her
To
to
break up
it's
the
to-
relationship with her and her mom.
It's to get that off your back, get that tension off
Start
your back.
healing.
As long as you are holding on to that, it's gonna slowly eat you away.
Penny, how can somebody heal from? I mean,
And forgive.
and
I have to
I-
forgive
listen,
that
listen,
person.
the reason why, because
Because
in
it's
my
hurt.
mind,
It's hurt.
in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, you looking at this person every day. The whole world is going about its business as normal, as though nothing in hell happened. And your world has been turned up in knots, twisted, violated, spit on, all of these things. And it's just like everybody else is fine, happy, and your perpetrator walking around looking as though for you it was just a nightmare.
You know, I don't know. I dealt with it, but like with my kids, they dealt with it different. You know, it's still hard for my kids to deal with that person. Even when they see that person, I can see the expression on their face. But they have to forgive that person first and just go up to that person and tell them, I forgive you.
Do you
And
have-
you got to take that off of you and just give it to God. You know,
Tasha,
it's
if I
not
can't,
easy.
if somebody comes up to you and says to you, because this is still raw with you, somebody comes up to you and they say to you, because one of the reasons why we're doing this is because I don't want us to be the kind of church people who are not relevant to the issue. So, but if somebody came up to you and said, baby, John 3 says, you just need to pray. Or they say, just let it go. Now, how do you feel about stuff like that?
What, let that go?
I mean, if somebody comes up to you and says, you need to, well, let God fix it. You get in the Word. Forgive them. Turn the other cheek. Tasha, Tasha, how does that settle in your spirit to hear somebody tell you that?
It doesn't settle well.
It's hard.
It doesn't settle well at all. I do believe in God, but after the things that I've experienced, it's kind of caused me to not like men.
What you mean, not like men?
I'm interested in girls.
Wait a minute, help me
That's
understand.
something
I'm
that
not, because that statement just kind of took me out of blue. You like girls now?
It's possible. So it happens a lot.
Yes, sir. Because after the things I've experienced, it's almost like I couldn't see myself with the man because I had been violated at such a young age, and things kept happening even years later, and I just feel like all men, would take advantage of.
I understand, but I went through that at 9. I don't know how I got through it, but I got through it. And it wasn't until like 6 years ago I started learning how to give it to the Lord and come in a Bible study, and God showing me what I had to do to forgive these men. It wasn't just one, it was like 4. And one of them died. I don't know what happened. No, 2 of them dead. The other 2, they must be dealing with whatever they dealing with. I never did get to see them anymore. But that one, I see, and I'm good.
Brian, does your husband trust men?
What?
Yeah, husband.
That's right. Brian, does your wife trust men? Or do you think she has a leaning towards seeing men as being dogs? I ain't trying to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
He not gonna say that because he know I'm a people person.
Brian, speak, Brian.
Well, I don't think she see men as being dogs. Do you, baby? I don't think she see men as being dogs. She
your
married
baby
me.
brother.
Speak, baby brother. Speak, brother. I'm gonna let Brian finish, but then we'll go to baby brother. That's it.
That's about all
But I never told you, huh?
about what?
My situation.
Well, you told me about one of them.
Just one. I never told you about the others.
No.
So you've been holding secrets too.
Well,
And you are beyond the age of 45.
I'll be 59 Friday.
But I'm saying, oh, girl, I'm telling you, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But it, yeah.
All of this time,
But he didn't know.
you not a
about
little
one.
child in the mood.
But he didn't have to deal with them others.
But
That
that's
one
not for
person
his sake, not for his
he
sake.
worked with. And I had to tell him.
But I'm not talking about concerning how he would react. I'm really trying to say, I'm wondering about how much you have, and I'm still with you, Tasha. I'm still trying to figure out how much you have verbalized and spoke on the pain from all of these people and how much you have kept it to yourself as a grown, older woman. And here Tasha is 15, and my mind says, how long can you carry
And I
salty
carried that
water?
until about 6 years ago.
That's way too long.
Well, you know, you.
Tasha, please tell me. Please tell me.
Tell you what, son.
Please tell me that you're not going to just keep all of this in you forever like that.
You just have to forgive.
Honestly, I don't know. It just, it's a very hard thing to talk about or just come straight out and tell someone. For, numerous reasons. I've seen mom, go through a lot, and, I've seen her down moments, and when she's up and happy, I don't, besides the relationships with other family members, I don't want to destroy her happiness. And, other than that, it's almost like and it's one of those issues where you don't want the whole family knowing your business.
Wow.
Well,
That is that I could understand that.
well, Tasha, I definitely understand that it's easier to tell a stranger than it is to go to family. Because
It's easier to tell a stranger than it is to go to family. That's a big statement.
Yeah, because
Wow.
family's always around. The
I don't
stranger-
want that to be the case with my family. I want my family members, especially those that live underneath my household, I want them to be able to come to me and say, because you are family, because you are who you are.
But the problem,
I know you'll listen.
yeah, the problem is that family is not always the most open to, especially if there's another family member involved. Once there's another family member involved, you're going to have sides taken, and that person's under pressure at that point in time. Like she will be under pressure too, because she's also considering all this other stuff. Well, they may not believe me, and what about so and so? How will they look at me at this point? So she has I have to consider all of these things. Not like she's sitting down and writing down, this, but this is all playing out in your head. So you tend to remain silent. You tend to hold on to that.
You don't want to be the person who called out and messed your family up.
Exactly.
Well,
But if you tell a stranger, that person may have no connection with your family, and you tend to be able to, let's just say, release a lot more than you would with a family member without having have to look at this person day after day, see this person day after day. You can be a little bit more open with the person and feel less judged.
Tasha, are you fearful that your family members, any of your family members, whether it be a minority or majority, are you fearful that they will judge you? For example, if he did do that, she probably
ask for it. No.
XYZ.
yeah, because sometimes he be dressing and somebody should teach her that she's a young lady, and
They
so
don't
she
even have to
needs
dress no kind of way. They just, if they want what they want.
Already feels a certain type of way because I mean now that I'm older, I see it, but I've always been a shapely young girl, and as I got older, I was my jeans that I would wear were very fitted, but that's still not a reason for someone to touch you. And I feel like if I tell family members, they'll start saying things like, well, maybe she shouldn't wear, certain things around him. And I don't wear any, mom doesn't let me wear anything, that's not age appropriate.
I understand.
However, the jeans and everything, they're pretty fitted because I'm a shapely young lady.
And I can understand you don't want to hide.
A different way.
Do you at all blame yourself? Do you say, well, maybe I shouldn't have played, maybe I shouldn't have sat in his lap when I was younger. Maybe I should have covered my whole body, my hair and everything. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm being a little ridiculous now, but do you at all blame yourself? Do you think that maybe, does any part of you, whatever, says, maybe I should have been meaner to him?
No, sir.
There was nothing she could do or say. She was targeted when she walked in there.
You think she was targeted?
She was targeted when she walked in there. She was a young little
Yes,
8-year, 9-year-old.
Like I said, he was in the military and he was disabled, so he was always home.
Just think about what she could.
Like I say, in front of family, he was very nice. You wouldn't think anything would be.
Not Uncle Fred. Not Uncle Fred. Not Uncle Fred. But I have a feeling that there are other people who knows, yes, Uncle Fred.
Well, I was going to ask her, does she have any other siblings or any other cousins?
She says she has a 6-year-old stepsister.
But don't live with them though.
What kind of relationship do they have?
Your stepsister lives with you, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. What
But
kind?
her daddy has other family elsewhere too.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so
She was around Uncle Fred too.
Was she was around Fred too?
With someone else.
she's around your uncle sometimes too. Is that right?
Is who around him?
Is she around
Your
him?
6-year-old sister.
Yes.
So
She a target too.
what you mean she's a target too?
Oh yeah.
Uncle Fred probably just was looking at Tasha, huh?
No,
No,
that's
it's
what
one,
I'm
it's another.
afraid about.
What you mean?
If it's one, it's another.
Do you think that Uncle Fred is friendly with your 6-year-old stepsister? Do you have concerns about?
I don't think he touched her, but if so, I'm not aware of it.
Have
Does
you?
she sit on his lap? Does she be around him a lot?
She is around him a lot, and he does play with her, but he doesn't play with her the way he plays with me.
Well,
He'll sit her on his lap, he say a few words, put her down.
have she had a conversation with her?
At younger, he wanted to play I don't know what it's called, when you sit someone on your leg and a horse or something.
Oh, ride the horse.
Yeah, something like that.
Has she had a conversation with her sister?
Have you ever sat? That's a good question. Have you ever sat down with your 6-year-old sister to at least find out maybe how she feels about Uncle Fred, or whether Uncle Fred has been too nice to his second favorite niece?
I have not.
Have you ever said to yourself, maybe one day Uncle Fred may decide to have another victim? Or do you just felt like he made you feel so special, like you was the only one?
He didn't. When it was happening with me, at that time I felt like I may have been the only one. Because other times when family was around, it was other adults.
So
You
one
was
of the
the
things.
only kid around when, with Uncle Fred?
When
They had other
when I
kids?
was younger,
Yeah.
they were in different rooms. I actually had my own room.
Tasha, do you have any other cousins?
A question on the floor. Do you have any other cousins that would be in the area?
Yeah.
That she trusts.
Females.
Female cousins.
Yes.
They're around your age?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you ever considered any of them that you have a good rapport with? That you can really talk to?
Or auntie.
I haven't. It's just something that I keep bottled up inside.
Yeah, the reason why I'm asking is because you keeping it bottled up inside. One, it's going to eat you. It's going to eat you up. And two, you may have this conversation with some of your cousins, female cousins.
Find out.
They have something bottled inside.
Yeah, they may be keeping stuff too.
Yeah.
So, just kind of, feel the, air and see, and open up to some of your cousins and, the ones that you trust. And you be able to get that off your back with a family member. You never know. Your cousin might be going through some of the same things, and then that's more ammo that you guys could use in to convincing, other
You talking
relatives
to
of
other
what's going on.
adults and the relatives, yeah.
Now, do your aunt and uncle have kids together?
No.
My thing, if she's do your mother have? Do you have aunties? Your mother have sisters?
Yeah, I have other. Oh, okay.
And are you close to any of them?
We are, yes.
Because my thing is, if you're afraid to tell your mother and you feel more comfortable talking to your auntie, I wouldn't consult her because she could bring you with you to have somebody with you, and it may come up like she's like, why didn't you just tell? Well, I didn't feel comfortable just telling you. Well, if you have a real rapport with her sister, then I think it would come out better. I think it would be a better situation.
What, Tasha, are all men like your Uncle Alfred? Or Uncle Fred?
I can't, no sir, not all men, because I've been around other men, that haven't, taken advantage or looked at me in a different way. This was mainly only when Uncle Fred would drink.
Yeah,
drinks too.
I stayed within the military. I know that was going to be a
Military,
problem.
drinking,
Seen it happen.
disabled.
If Uncle Fred did that with her, he did it with some military women when he was drinking. He took advantage of
So let me ask you, and the reason why I asked you about the all men is because you expressed that you like females, and I'm not judging you in regards to that statement or that feeling, but I am wondering if you believe that you like females because you don't want to deal with males, because you feel males just bring negativity and trauma, or if you think that if this would not have happened, then you still would like females.
Honestly, I don't know, but I do feel that maybe if it wouldn't have happened, that I wouldn't, because I don't know, that's kind of a hard question, because I wasn't the type that was fast or anything, or I don't know how to answer that question.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I think that I would. I've just been so hurt and traumatized by what has transpired. It's just like over the years, it causes me to have this hate in my heart about, of men. And I'm seeing this happen so often with other girls. And so, yeah, it's kind of making me like females, because I feel like a female would treat me much better, because as women, we know what women want. And I feel like as a woman, you can violate another woman, but you're not in the way that a man can.
I see. Yeah. So
And
this is
they don't have the strength of a man, and Uncle Fred was a pretty strong individual.
one of the things that I'm only saying to you is because relationships are very important. And when you are in a relationship with other people, and when other people are in relationships with you, each individual ought to be as whole and as healed as possible. Otherwise, their choices and their decisions may not be the most healthy decisions. And it may not be the ones that they truly, if they were healed, would follow. I'm saying all this to say that before you enter into a relationship with a male or a female, it is important that you be healed in this sense. Otherwise, you're going to bring some kind of baggage, some kind of confusions, some kind of drag into other relationships that don't deserve that. And so I'm really trying to encourage you, before you declare and proclaim, this is who I am, find out who you really are, minus the pain.
That's been the hard part, because I don't know how to get past the pain.
Okay, and Penny stepped out of the room. I kind of want to include, because our time is moving, and I told you I wasn't going to keep you too much longer than what I've already done. So I want to get right now to, what do you think? How do you think you heal? Penny, I'm asking the question because she's saying that she feels like it's important for her to get some healing, and so.
Yes, because I've been reading a few self-help books and looking at some things on the internet, and I honestly want to be a better person for myself and a role model for my sister and brother.
That's good, very good.
I know that right now, I am young, so I still have a ways to go, but I know that I really can't help them right now because it's kind of hard to help myself. So a lot of times I'm just pretty sheltered, and that's why I just, always on YouTube or, just messing with hair. Because it kind of like buys time, and I don't think about what I've been through when I'm doing those things.
So, Tasha, I'm going to need for you to find a way to scream. I know this may sound crazy, but I'm going to need you to find, and when I mean by scream isn't always just raising your voice and making a loud noise or a loud shout. Screaming is that venting. Screaming is that the declaration that I will be heard. Screaming is that thing that says, I'm hurting, so I'm going to say ouch, and I'm not going to apologize for saying ouch because I'm hurting. And I'll keep on screaming and saying ouch until the pain goes away and until the wound is just a scar. You'll always have it as a scar, but it doesn't always have to be a wound. Scars say, I went through this and made it. Wounds said, I went through this and I'm still going through it. I can't keep you from having a scar, but maybe we can help you pass the wound. Because I want you to be at a place where you can, even if it sounds crazy, I want you to be able to take this dirt and make it produce something good. And if you're going to be a YouTuber, maybe this is an excellent opportunity for you to be able to use your experience to help somebody else that's coming along in the same sense.
And that's what I would like to do, which is why the healing would be very important.
Well, how can she scream? Can anybody tell me, how can she scream?
That's the only thing I did was, and not knowing, I had to say, Lord, I need you to help me to get over and overcome what I've been through. I need you to take it away from me and put it into his hands.
At the end of the day, what you're going to need is going to be something greater than what your mind can manufacture. You're going to need, because this is not only a physical, this is, at the lowest level, is physical. Mm-hmm. At the highest level, this is spiritual. Because rape it does more than violate the body. It violates the spirit, the mind, the emotion. It not only does it rape today, but rape continues to go on until rape is forgiven. Not forgotten, forgiven. And I know that may not be sounding like something that you want to do right now, but I'm saying to you, I don't want him to keep on raping you in your spirit and in your mind. Even if your mind always remembers, I don't want it to always bleed. And so you have to give yourself permission to scream. You have to give yourself permission to vent. You have to give yourself permission to basically tell the world, I'm hurting. This happened. I'm not going to be denied. This happened. So at some point, going to your mother is going to be important. Not to get him in trouble, but it's a part of you screaming. And you deserve to be able to scream. Now, I want to suggest to you, I don't know Fred, I don't know him, but oftentimes, the statistics say that people who rape have been raped. It is well known that those who have child abusers, most child abusers have been abused as children. And I do want you to feel like you're definitely not alone, because the latest statistics say that 1 out of every 4 females have been molested, and 1 out of every 6 males have been molested. So you're not alone, even though you may feel alone and isolated and like everybody else is fine. Everybody else is not fine. Everybody else is not fine. Brian, you have been relatively quiet, but you've been very loud in your spirit.
The reason why I've been very, very quiet.
And why he should be exposed, and I'm saying this, Tasha,
It's to stop him.
it's not to embarrass him. It's not to make people laugh or look down on him. But I need you to know that you're not.
For him to be punished.
I'm sure, yeah.
He needs to
No
be
one-
But he
exposed.
can't. He's not going to be punished with everybody being quiet.
He's not going to be punished.
He needs to be exposed.
He could be exposed, but it could be a different way at doing it, like I had to do with my victim. I just had to go on a victim job and just come out and say, hey, I forgive you. That's what I did. And he said, for what? And I told him, do you want me to tell everybody? And he looked and he left.
But you see, Tasha,
It's different.
yeah, the thing when you're forgiving someone, you're not forgiving them to make them feel better.
No.
You're actually forgiving them to release that pain from you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they accept the forgiveness or not. It doesn't matter. You're getting it off of your back. You're releasing it. If they accept it, that's fine. That's a little added bonus. But if they don't, it doesn't matter. You're releasing it and you're letting them know, hey, you did something wrong to me. I'm not gonna let this control my life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna release this, and it's all on you. It's gonna come back to him eventually.
Yeah.
So don't let it eat your life up and take your future, because you have a future.
And then, if you don't want to tell your mom or you don't want to tell no one, you could just tell him, I forgive you.
So let me also
And
say
it'll
this.
be out like
What you said was very good about the forgiveness. It frees the victim.
Mm-hmm.
It is not for the perpetrator. It's for the victim.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to walk around to your 58, 59,
Mm-hmm.
carrying all of 52 and carrying all that stuff. But let me also say this here. I think it's important for you to not argue the truth. You were there. even the other person who was there, if they deny it, you ain't got to argue with them. You ain't got to argue with your mother. You ain't got to argue with Aunt out there. You ain't got to argue with friends. You ain't got to argue with anybody. If you speak it, and let it be. Let it be. You ain't got, because arguing is going to create even more pain in you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like you're getting it off your back. You're not trying to further it. You're just saying, hey, you're speaking your truth and moving on. And like I said, they don't have to accept it. That's fine. You're not trying to do it for their acceptance. You're doing it for you.
To get it off of you.
Okay, so as a wrap up, Tasha, I know the time is so one of the two things we're going to do on this wrap up. Number one, I'm going to give Tasha the opportunity to express whatever she may want to express to the group. Whatever she want to say, we're going to listen to her. Number two, but first what we'll do is I want to survey the room. If you could give her one piece of advice, how to heal, what to do, what she may want to consider, this is your opportunity. So anybody want to start? You can start. We'll go around the room. Identify yourself again, please.
My name is Damien. Yeah, I'm the one that had the diarrhea in the mouth. But you said you want to be you want to do
YouTube.
the YouTuber. Yeah, and I say that's perfect. You are able to bring to the table your experiences, whereas you may be touching people that you don't know, and encouraging them to come out and speak, not just for this person, but for many other people. And that can be, healing on your part, just to help somebody out. That can help you heal, because you'll be surprised how many people will reach out to you once you start doing it.
Absolutely. Next person.
Well,
Brian.
I'll just try to be cautious on what I'm saying here tonight, because I have all type of stuff be rolling through my head with this situation. But I think the best out would be, like my wife has said, was to approach him and tell him that you forgive him. I know it's a bitter pill, but I believe that is the best way. Because I know I myself personally, I could tear something up. So I have to stay in the spirit, because I'd be to tore something up. So it would be best to just let him know that you understand what he had done to you and that you forgive him. And like my brother-in-law says here, like Damien says, so you can set your own self free as well.
Tasha, I know you can't see him, but I want to tell you, if you could see Brian's face, I've watched Brian throughout the duration of this Bible study, and I could tell that this really touches on a part of him that if he were not saved, he would tear some stuff up. So he has come a
He
ways.
almost did.
He's come a long way in his discipline. And so when he tells you to forgive, release it, and give it to God, he says that after he has traveled a long way, because that's not the advice that he would have taken some years ago. He would have taken it to his own hand, and it wouldn't have worked out like that. But then there will also be repercussions he would have had to deal with. Because if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So when he says forgive, his is not said spoken lightly. It comes as a result of experience and maturity. Penny.
Tasha. Like my husband say, you don't have to make a scene with him. Even if y'all ever go visit and you give him a hug, you could whisper it in his ear and say, I forgive you. Mm-hmm. And it's going to light up in his head, and all you have to do is back up. If you don't want no one else in the family to know. But pray for him.
Deacon Spriggs.
Tasha, what I want to say, thank you for once again for coming and sharing with us. You've made a big step already, because the more you express yourself, the more you'll get more confidence. But unlike going through the abuse when you were alone in your pain, in recovering from the trauma, you don't have to be. You know, as scary as it was back then, you will gain more power the more you talk about it. So I suggest you find somebody that you really can trust.
Mm.
That's going to be the main thing. Somebody that's going to believe you, that you can trust in and share with them. But you have to make that step because you don't want to stay in the pain that you're in, because it's only going to manifest itself other ways. As you grow, more pain to recover more stuff. You get in a relationship, that's going to hurt. That's going to cause you to do more stuff, more destruction of yourself. So like I say, find somebody that you can actually start the process, which you have done today already. Because the more you talk about it, the more you think about it, the more you'll feel more confident about sharing your trauma that you've been through. But like I say, once you get through it, you become starting to act in power that you didn't have as a child, now that you're a little older.
I'm going to build off of what my advice comes from. I believe everything that has been said to you is appropriate and good, and I hope you take that as a serious note and follow up on it. My addition is also building off of what Deacon Spriggs just said. I'm going to tell you, be bold. Mm-hmm. And this is what I mean by this. As a child, you could not block him from your body, but you can block him from your being. I can't block you from my body. I wasn't strong enough, all of that. But I'm going to block you from my being, because what you did to my body doesn't have to become a part of my being.
Okay.
So the way you block it from being a part of your being is you limited it to your body. You did this to my body. You violated my body. But I ain't going to let you violate my being, because my being is who I be right now and who I be going forward. I'm not going to let you keep raping me. I'm going to block you from my being, because who I be is not going to be a victim. Who I be is not going to be this little girl who was raped. Who I be is not going to be this pain. Who I be is not going to be this moment or these moments. Who I be is greater than that. So I'm going to be bold enough to block you from my being. I couldn't block you from my body, but I'm going to block you from my being. So every day when I get up, I'm not going to be ashamed. I'm not going to deny the truth. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to say I was raped. He touched me inappropriately. I was wrong. He did that. That's on his charge. I didn't ask for it. I didn't set myself up for it. That's on his charge. Who I be today is more than that moment or those moments. Who I be going forward, going to always be greater than that. It's not going to not include that, because I'm bold enough and strong enough to include the dirt. Show the dirt, so that people will be able to see she rose from